Hi, welcome back to Cambridge Inside Out. I'm Judy Nathans,
And I'm Robert Winters.
and we're talking housing and incomes
And envisioning.
envisioning,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah. So
very elucidating to what you said last
yeah, I mean, I think
hour, the history lesson
it's-
of our
it's
master plan.
it's
and
very
stuff.
helpful,
Yeah.
I think, to sort of understand
Absolutely.
the long view of this.
Right, it didn't just happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, let me throw one little bit of history, and I promise not to go on too
All
much
right,
more.
1 minute.
The thing is that so growth policy document became sort of the rule, kind of guiding the planning board and other considerations. Rent control ended subsequent to that.
Which really,
So then there was a
yeah.
sort of, so condominiumization picked up.
oh boy, yeah.
Loss of affordability in a general sense
Right.
kind of kicked in. I mean, some people were able to buy condos during the post-rent control years, and so they were kind of set, I guess. But the thing is that ultimately there was an understanding within the city council that they needed to just generate more housing. And with it would be affordable, or subsidized housing, and however you want to define it. But housing just generally was being encouraged. So they changed zoning laws to allow housing in all the districts, even former industrial districts
okay.
became housing
So give me an
accepted.
example of where there wasn't any that there now.
Alewife Quadrangle. Excuse me, Alewife Triangle
The
was
triangle,
all
which is,
warehouses and junk.
The triangle
Former
is
industries.
between Alewife.
It's the
Wait a minute.
triangle was
I thought that's like rail-
north of the tracks, right?
North of the track.
Yeah, north of the track. The quadrangle is south of the tracks between
Which is
Fresh Pond and the
where
tracks.
Iggy's is and all that.
Yes,
Okay, but
yeah.
I don't. I
And that
just
still
I
has
just
a
see
little bit of an
electrical
industrial-
lines in that triangle.
Right.
Where's their housing?
The thing is, there isn't a triangle right now. That's where they've been building thousands of units of
Oh,
housing.
that. Okay, you're talking about
Right.
that. Okay.
But I'm mentioning that specifically, and there was also North Point. That was former
North Point.
industrial, railroad yards,
true,
whatever.
and that's still
Right. University
absolutely.
Park got fully built out. Most
Oh,
of
good
Kendall
point.
Square got fully built out, but
Yeah.
it didn't have housing. Now
Right.
it's getting housing.
Right.
But the thing is, there was a preference expressed for building housing, kind of in any nick and cranny. Housing was good.
But low in.
Not
but middle
exclusive, not entirely.
Really?
So by 1998, I believe, is when they passed the inclusionary zoning, which mandated a certain fraction of.
Okay. So before
new
that,
housing.
there was no incentive, nothing.
No, but the thing is it was easier to buy properties too.
Oh,
so
true,
I think
right.
they'd already established the
That's a
Affordable
good
Housing
point.
Trust.
I mean,
so they
things
were-
started to get more expensive in the late 90s.
Well, the other thing too
but-
is they were what they call expiring use buildings, and they
Oh,
were going
right.
to lose the affordability.
Oh, like
So-
the HUD buildings.
Right.
and
So a lot of the
stuff, yeah.
Affordable Housing Trust then and now those monies were concentrated
True.
on maintaining existing affordable housing.
That's true.
right.
Yeah.
So and so that continues to this day. But what happened was they passed the Concord Alewife zoning change in around maybe about 2004, 2005. And it said, okay, over the next 20 years is going to be, we predict a certain amount of housing is going to happen, a certain amount of this, a certain amount of that. But then housing was like the thing where you could make the money.
Right.
So developers started buying up old sites and turning them into housing, and then
Some of them
one
rentals
after another
and some
after another.
condos. A lot of them
I think
rentals.
Primarily rentals,
That
because it
whole
was
that whole corridor by Alewife is all rentals.
the housing crunch, right? And
Oh, now I know where you're talking about.
right.
Oh,
So
God.
because
Yeah.
this happened in conjunction with a national movement of people wanting to move back into cities,
Right.
right? Giving up cars and using public transportation with bikes and everything.
Yeah.
So all of these, it was like the perfect storm.
Sure.
So now you find yourself with this tremendous increase in demand, real shortage in housing. So housing just starts popping up like daisies, right?
I mean, yeah, that now I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right.
That place you have to go in and out, the same thing.
Like
Cambridge Park
the
Drive.
world's biggest cul-de-sac.
Yeah, and
Right.
huge buildings.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, the city wanted it. That was
Right.
that was sort of whatever passed
I
for a
think
housing
those are
policy of the
rentals.
city, primarily
Yeah,
rentals.
yeah.
Right. I mean, there's also a lot of commercial and office and research and development stuff out there
Yeah,
as well.
but a
the
lot of
thing
it
is, now there's
rentals, and
housing.
it provides. It's right near the subway.
It's
so-
right by the LFT. But the thing is that there was a bump up in traffic. Now, I'm of the mindset that it wasn't so much that housing that caused the increase in traffic.
No.
In more recent years, it was the fact that the economy was recovering, and those people in Lexington who had lost their jobs in Boston, who got their jobs again, maybe in Kendall
I would say
Square,
all that traffic is coming from other places. It's not coming from those developments.
They've done studies. They say the overwhelming majority of the traffic.
It's all coming from Sudbury, Concord, Lincoln, Lexington,
It's pass-through traffic.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, people got outraged.
Yeah.
And if you go back to the political season in 2013, it's like, where's the master plan? Where's the master plan?
Yeah.
It was largely driven by this concern about increased, impossibly bad traffic on Alewife Parkway.
And it's only gotten worse.
Right, and it's gotten worse, right? But I'll still assert.
Also Prospect and we'll talk about it later, that last night they talked about these areas.
But the thing is, so that spurs this demand for master plan, which leads to Envision Cambridge, which takes us to today. Right. Which is where now at the end of a 3-year process, really 4 if you include community
it's not going to really be done till spring, it sounds like.
No, the thing is, a report will probably be out by December, but the thing is, city council action. I mean, some things the city can just do. You don't need to change a law to do. Right? You know, if you if it's a matter of like saying we've decided to paint all the curbs red, the Public Works can just paint all the curbs red.
That doesn't.
That's not one of the recommendations. No, you don't need an ordinance for that.
You do an ordinance for any zoning
Though some people probably would think.
No, but any zoning changes you need.
Zoning is law. That is local ordinance.
And Envision, a lot of it is zoning changes.
You know, there's 175 or so recommendations from these various working groups, which, by the way, I'm not happy about the fact that this was so siloed, that you've got this working group doing this working group doing that, no unity about it. And I sit on the advisory committee where they were all supposed to be vetted.
And it never
They really weren't. You know, honestly,
so what's the solution?
We were given like nothing to do. You know, city staff was basically cobbling this together on their own.
Advisory.
Listen, I accept that. I didn't want any authority. But you know, honestly, there was another member of the advisory committee at the city council roundtable last night, and when they said, "Well, these are what the advisory committee said," this, and we looked at each other and said, "Really?
Oh, that's interesting.
We were both there. We don't remember that."
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of funniness going on about that. But anyway, so
let's talk about that last night.
All right. So the thing is so now we're coming to the end of this 3-year period. The city council wants to get some latest updates. They are right on the verge of they're farming out some things to
because they want to go to the different committees to discuss the different working groups.
Yeah. So they're saying, "What's up? Tell us what's up."
So the roundtable is supposed to cover, really and possibly, all of the different issues, but they basically covered.
There's these 3 ideas. Now they've been the Envision Cambridge folks.
You don't have that on here anywhere.
No, I didn't load it up. But the thing is, well, it might be somewhere, but it's too cumbersome, I think.
Yeah.
But the thing is it was this 100% affordable housing overlay proposal, which I think is being pushed because there was a council committee was already looking at it, and the community development department had been asked to look into this 3 or so years ago. So they said, okay, well, let's just push that out. Then there's another one about super inclusionary and another one about environmental something or other, right?
Right.
Okay, so
then there's the environmental thing.
Right. So anyway, so they've been basically running a dog and pony show around town. There's been a lot of. And they I don't know about all 3
This
proposals.
is an interesting, if you want to just, this is the.
We can do this here.
Oh, wow, there you go. So this was basically, it would apply to the entire city, which I think is interesting, but when you see all that orange, there's not much in there.
Well, they're what they call the Residence A and Residence B districts.
Is that what the orange is?
The orange is all residential neighborhoods, including Residence C1, which is where Mid-Cambridge is largely C1. The lower density ones are Res B, and the very low density ones are like sort of Mansionville is Res A, Residence A, and they tend to be more in western.
So the potential change is basically along the major transit, right? What is this? That's Alewife, isn't it?
That's really where the quadrangle is.
The quadrangle, and then that's the triangle. I don't know why they have that.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, there's still some things going on up in there.
Kendall.
Right, but
North Point? Is this North Point?
That's the very northern edge. North Point actually is shared a bit with Somerville.
Oh, okay.
So it's all up around there.
And then what's this? Here. Where is this?
This is still sort of Kendall Square, and just north of Kendall Square on the edge of East Cambridge is still there's still industrial properties and whatever. So the thing is, these are areas of potential change.
Okay.
Right? So the process here focused largely on, Envision basically is focused on these corridors, as well as some things in the existing residential neighborhoods, primarily driven by concerns about, wanting to generate more subsidized housing.
Right.
Right? So the city staff, together with the Envision, the UTIL, which is the consultant, so they were kind of walking around town, these three ideas. And they brought it in front of the planning board. Last night they had it in front of the city council again.
I mean, I've heard it twice. The planning board, they've gone to meetings, community
Some
meetings.
community meetings.
I went to the one that you,
Yeah, it was at
the senior center.
The advisory committee got to hear about it,
Right.
and I gave them a piece of my mind, to say the least. And anyway, so those are the ideas that have been put around town.
Yeah.
And now the planning board members pointed out, this was in September, and I think several of the city councilors are very aware, if not all of them.
September 25th, yeah.
Yeah, that in fact, some of these proposals, specifically the push for the so-called 100% affordable housing
The
overlay,
yeah.
which would remove the right of neighbors to appeal
Right.
a project that's proposed.
Except
So-
for design, wasn't that part?
but they wouldn't have any
yeah.
say, only the
Okay.
planning board would have say.
I see.
In design standards, but the thing is, they really don't have any design standards established right now. So the thing is, if it's all a matter, you can argue about the design, but the thing is that 20-foot setback in the backyard between that and the house on the next street, if that's just obliterated,
Yeah.
the neighbor says, well, you just put a 4-story brick wall up right outside my kitchen
And,
window,
last night,
and I have no right to appeal.
And Dennis Carlone brought that up, I think.
He
last night.
did.
He said, we're not looking at the back of these
They're
buildings.
not looking at the back of the buildings, they're not looking at the side of the buildings, and the city's whole answer is, oh, if you don't want to give back a setback, then we have to let us build 6 stories or something. Which, there are some existing apartment buildings in some of these low density districts. It's not, nobody's saying they don't exist.
Right.
They were all built like back in the 1920s.
So they were all.
They predate
yeah.
most of the zoning. Now,
Right.
there is a totally valid argument to be made. Well, maybe the prevailing zoning in all the city's neighborhoods, maybe it's not set correctly. I mean, if 69% of all, and this is true, 69% of all residential lots are non-conforming
Really?
because they're in excess of
Wow.
the current zoning limits, then well,
That's
maybe the zoning
fascinating.
limits should be adjusted
Yeah.
to
reflect
better
the
reflect
reality?
the current built environment.
Interesting.
That's one of the points I've been saying, but they don't listen to me. I'm just on the
Who's
damn
they?
advisory
The
committee.
community development?
Yeah,
or
I don't think
Envision
they-
or anybody?
I don't honestly, and I hate to be the naysayer here, but my goodness, I just feel like we're not being listened to at all. I think there's some people in the city staff, who just decided this is the way it's going to be, and that's the way it's going to be. There are a few people in the political world, on the city
Yeah.
councilors, that want things to be a certain way, but now clearly some have a rather different point of view.
Yeah.
And now
No,
some
I
of the
think it's-
neighbors are sort of saying, well, hold on a
Oh,
minute
they're getting a
here.
lot of emails, yeah.
Yeah, and I think there are some elected officials who are elected based on votes from certain parts of the city,
Right.
who probably should start paying attention to the fact that maybe
Yes.
some of the people who voted for him 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, actually it's just a year ago, right? Municipal
Right.
election, yeah.
That's right.
Time flies. That they're probably ready to abandon them completely if they go a certain way.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Anyway, so there may be some realignment that way here. But anyway, I just think there's a lot of flaws in this. But
Yeah.
so you're really just getting a little taste of it now at this round table.
Right, because they were supposed to cover all of the areas, and people, I guess Denise Simmons had brought that up. Then what about
What about all these other-
mobility? What about community benefits? What about
Yeah.
is an employment thing in there? I
Yeah,
don't know.
but I don't know. I mean, the thing is so there's, as you know, they the previous week they passed this order farming all these
Oh,
wish
right, yeah.
lists, because really they are like wish lists. There's no unity to
Right.
these recommendations from
Yeah.
Envision Cambridge. There's no vision yet in
Right.
Envision,
Right.
right? All
Yeah.
there are is like laundry lists of ideas generated from
Right.
very narrow focus
Well,
groups.
they're going to put it all together,
Yeah,
I think.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, but the thing is so they're farming these things out. There's at least 3 city council, well, at least 2, but really 3 city council meetings currently scheduled that are going to take up some of these things.
Oh.
One of them is actually not specific, but it has to do with workforce development.
Oh, right,
But the
so
economic development was so about that,
Yeah.
that honestly, there's no way they're not going to be talking about that.
Right.
But then there's also one of the neighborhood long-term planning ones is going to take up urban form, right?
Well, that's a whole other report that they didn't really get to, or I saw it on their thing, but it didn't have anything after that.
That was within the overall advisory group, so that was in our bailiwick.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
But honestly, they tried out some of the scenarios about that, and then there was a little bit of concern when they saw proposals for 11-story buildings in Porter Square and in Harvard Square and elsewhere. So, so some people are going, well, wait a minute, we need a little more discussion about that, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it was inevitable that whatever came out of the Envision process was going to have some controversial aspects.
But the bottom line is, while this is all going on, and as long as it's going to take to do these changes, developers still can go in and buy properties.
They can buy properties.
Nothing's going to stop them right now, right?
And it's not right. There's no moratorium, nor should there be. But the thing
right,
is,
but I'm just saying this.
There's existing zoning.
Right, so they're going to
you build under existing zoning.
So I just wonder. I mean,
Yeah, but if you actually look at what's happening, is that I'm not a big fan of what could reasonably called luxury housing.
Right.
But the thing is, a lot of the housing that's being built, that people are calling luxury, is really just housing. I don't think I need a concierge and a swimming pool in my property, by the way. But
well, what was the thing that went up in Porter? That's housing, right? Is that rentals?
Well, there was one that was actually a 40B
Jan was
project.
mentioning one that it's still empty storefronts on the bottom. And I'm trying to think of where it is because I go up there, but I can't.
Yeah, I think there's an insufficient addressing of the problem of how retail and
right, and if they're going to
together.
charge too much for these spaces when you're not going to have your local businesses be able to get in there, I don't know if that's the issue, but
I don't know, but I honestly
we have tattoo parlors and
I don't think we ever talked about that with Envision Cambridge,
No.
but I think it's a real issue is how you build cities. I'm going to sort of sound more and more like Dennis Carlone soon here.
Yeah.
How do you build cities for people, right?
Yeah,
Where you
right.
actually have housing and you have a place to go shopping and, and proximity to transit and all of these things here, Maybe when Envision Cambridge comes out, the report comes September, maybe through some magic, some of these things will take shape. I don't know. I'm going to try and be optimistic about it.
Well,
but, so far I'm just getting a little sour about it.
Yeah, it was interesting. They had, I heard something on the New York City and retail and how people are complaining about the Amazon effect, that a lot of empty storefronts and the only ones that do exist are nail salons, hair salons, things where you cannot get that through Amazon, which is interesting, and like yoga studios or what you were saying, daycare.
Daycare, you can
those are all there are services, but what about the 5 and 10? What about the places
where
with
do you
goods?
buy your pair of socks? Yeah.
So Target, I guess there's a new Target
By
in Porter Square.
That's true.
Did you go?
I haven't been there yet, but I'm glad it's there. But the thing is actually I'm just as an off topic here.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, I have to go to a meeting of the Central Square Advisory Committee, where we're going to be reviewing. We finished the placemaking. Okay. That's another story.
All right.
I let them have it last week about that.
Okay.
But maybe next week.
All right.
The thing is we're actually going to be reviewing the proposal from Amazon. Now you might say, well, Amazon's already operating there, right?
Oh yeah. What's their proposal?
I think the city kind of scred up because there is this formula business.
Calling it a formula business. Yeah.
It obviously is.
It is, but how many Amazon stores do you see around?
But that's not exactly what it's not done by trade name.
I see.
It's sort of a national logo and whatever, right?
Okay.
So the thing is that they kind of opened anyway, and like the city seems to have screwed up on how to go through the procedure that's in the ordinance.
I see.
So now we're kind of backtracking. So it's coming in front of the Central Square Advisory Committee. We just basically give an opinion. It then goes to, I think, the planning board, or it could be, I think it's the planning board, to get the special permit under the.
So who's on the other side? Who's vouching for Amazon?
I don't know who will be there at the meeting, but the thing is that what the interest for me is honestly, I don't mind the fact it's Amazon. That's not the issue for me at all. But though there are some issues with people pulling up parking where they shouldn't be in order to run in the store, that's going to be more and more of that.
I haven't seen that, but I don't know.
I've seen a little bit of it, but then again, the store is relatively new.
Yeah.
Right. But the thing is that if the sole purpose of a formula business ordinance is to say which font you can use,
Oh,
then that's just not doing it for me.
right. It should be
Yeah.
how many of
I mean,
these stores
the thing
can
is
exist
that
in a certain
if you're
area,
dropping a
right?
bank in, or a phone store,
Yeah.
or an Amazon store, which is fundamentally a retail killer, or
Yeah.
at least some people think of it as a retail
Yeah.
killer,
Yeah,
then adjusting the font doesn't
Right.
correct the ill. To me, and I've spoke at the planning board meeting. I didn't speak at the planning. I talked to the developers of the Revolutionary Clinic, the marijuana clinic.
Oh, yeah, you want the hot
going to
dog
open in the
stand.
old
Yeah,
Blockbuster.
yeah.
And I said, find more creative ways of using these storefronts. I
Well,
think we
they are.
talked
They're
about
going to
it
have
last
local
week.
artists.
So anyway, I talked to them
Yeah.
about it, but that's sort of not an answer. Like,
Well, that-
so it's window dressing.
Did
then.
you, the October 16th planning board, I happened to be, I kept watching it because
Yeah.
I had, and they presented Reveille,
Yeah.
and that's really was the plan.
I know, and you
And
know
everyone
what?
kind of liked it.
Well,
Sort of.
actually, they continued the hearing because they didn't like it enough.
Oh, really?
they
I didn't
told-
see the end of it.
They-
Okay.
They said, we
I heard
don't
Patrick
think
Barrett
this is
talk.
enough. He did.
Yeah.
But the thing, and they were very thankful to
Oh, so you
Patrick for
watched
standing
it?
up.
Did you watch
No,
it?
I was at the meeting for
Oh, you
part
were?
of it
Okay.
in the back, and I was chatting with the Revolutionary Clinic people afterwards, and the
Okay.
lawyer, Tim Flaherty. And I
Right.
said, look, if you want to come back to, I gave him my advice.
Okay, what did you
after
say?
the meeting out on
Yeah.
the street on Broadway. I said,
Yeah.
you guys want to be him and have everybody be your best friend? You come back and you do something creative, retail oriented with those retail frontages there, and they're going to think you're wonderful.
Right, but the point is, though, in
Don't-
order to
don't
even
just put up
enter,
a painting.
no, but to enter that place, to have an active use of it, you have to enter the place, and you can't enter it without going through
So
security.
the problem is right, but the thing is, you can configure that in lots of ways. The problem is the
know.
state law doesn't want people to be able
Right.
to look into this
I understand that.
speakeasy.
Right.
So the thing is, fine. So how do you obscure the option, the activity behind the screen? You put frontages where real life activity
Well, like
happens.
what? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know
You have to be careful
I'm
there.
a hot dog
I
revolutionary
know, but that's
here,
a kitchen. That's everything. I don't think that's
No, no, no,
possible
no,
there.
no, listen,
and then you
I-
have people coming in and
Judy,
out.
I grew up in New York.
No, but this.
We had hot dog vendors.
Yeah, well,
I used to
but not-
be a hot dog
but
vendor.
not in front of a marijuana store.
Why not?
Because I think there's I was listening to stuff about security, and I think it's going to be an
The
issue.
security's all right behind the curtain, right? You go through the
Hmm. Well,
turnstile.
I would love
you
to
check
see a
it
hot
out
dog
here.
place, but
It could be a lot of things. I just think there's room for creativity, and that's what I'm going to tell Amazon tomorrow. I'm going to say, look,
Yeah.
don't just change your logo. For
Yeah.
goodness sake, you
something,
have
yeah.
an opportunity to take what was supposed to be like, I don't know how many panes of major glass right on a major square and make them active.
it's not that big a
and just-
space, you know. It isn't.
Well,
Not when you move things in and out with the lockers and
I don't
stuff.
know. We'll see.
We'll see. But,
But I just think we can do a lot better.
Okay.
And that's pretty much what I'm going to say.
let's go to
Yeah.
something pretty.
Let's go to something pretty. That's true.
Evolving
Okay?
murals.
So we can talk about Envision Cambridge all
Yeah.
day long, but
Here,
so here's
look
something
at-
kind of cool.
Is this finished?
So
It looks finished.
it is pretty finished. So Central Square murals, they're
Right.
happening. So let's
and you can
just
still
take a look
donate
here.
to that, by the
Right.
way.
So
Central
here we
Square
go.
Business.
This is beautiful. This is
Yeah.
called Queendom.
Lovely.
And this is pretty
Yeah.
much finished. One thing you can just barely see up in the upper left corner is some of the graffiti on the front of the building has also been removed, which thank you very much for that.
Wait, was that the Sims? Well, wait.
Sims was
over
is
here.
Over there, yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right,
Thank
so I
you.
like to see
yeah.
all of that real debris removed,
Yes.
you know. And this is beautiful. I mean, to me,
Yeah.
this is what we're talking about.
This is very nice.
This is just making things interesting. So this is my favorite.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be surpassed by some to come here. But they're happening. There's other ones happening. So
This
right
is
below
amazing. This
it.
is like right in front of us, right?
So this is the Women's Independent Living Group, which is a MIT affiliated
Right.
property.
Look how tall that is.
So you know,
My
you can see here in
goodness.
different stages. So they
Yeah.
first put down the blue,
Yeah.
and then they put the sort of the light orange lettering. And then I was there when they were, you know,
Wait,
putting
that's
in the,
lettering?
It's actually, I think it's like Sanskrit.
I was
So-
going to say, it looks
but-
very
so to
Middle
To
Eastern.
99% of the people, you would look at it and you would just see it as just
As
an
a
interesting
pattern. Yeah.
design with bright
Beautiful.
color. And I love it, you know.
Yeah.
But there's a woman up there who's actually the artist who's actually been painting that. And I was by...
Wait, not her.
No.
Oh.
So anyway, so that's just really great. And actually
Yeah.
today I just snapped another picture, but I don't have it up here.
Okay, but where is this
So
mural?
this is Lena. Lena McCarthy is actually doing, this is on the back, this is over facing Green Street.
Oh, this is by the library. This is that wall.
No, actually,
no?
it's across the street on the other side of Pleasant Street from the post office.
post office.
Right. So this is the building that has Pandemonium on the Pleasant Street side, facing
Yeah.
toward the post office.
Yeah.
This
And
is
where
a
is
little,
this?
This is the backside of a municipal parking lot.
So this is in front of the parking lot.
Right.
Oh, I didn't realize there was going to be
So
one
it's very
there.
much in process. So there's
Yeah.
Lena. She's a very, very nice person. You know, and there she was. She's got her own lift.
Wait,
and she's
is
going
this
up and
is this a
down.
painting or is that her silhouette?
That's a shadow. That's a shadow.
Are you sure about that?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
That's so weird. Doesn't it look like it's a
Yeah,
silhouette?
it sure does.
You
But if-
took this?
Yeah. So if you scroll down just a little bit here, you
Yeah.
see this is just the centerpiece. The thing is, it's still
Yeah.
incomplete. I didn't get a chance
Very
to drop by
nice.
today, but the thing is, you know, so it's this sort of very interesting kind
Yeah.
of surrealistic plant with a heart.
Yeah.
You know, kind
Well,
of showing
looks-
the veins
it's a-
of leaves and the veins.
Yeah, it's very
body.
very
Yeah.
anthromorph, whatever. Okay.
Yeah,
And what
it
is this?
I'm just going to put it down here just as contrast, because some people's idea of art in Central Square is this sort of messaging, like on benches.
Yeah.
And I said, it's great for what it is, but honestly, this doesn't do it for me.
I like this.
I don't like this. Like,
Who
first-
allowed them to do this?
this was all done with the Community Arts Center.
Okay. I like it.
Right.
Sit and run and stand
I
and
know.
kneel for change.
Honestly,
I like it. I like
if you
it.
look at all the other ones, though, there's no words. They're just beauty. Right? Actually,
Well,
go down one more and I'll say
nothing,
what.
you know, a lot of
This is-
artists would.
That's my idea of
the-
beauty.
well,
right there.
cold beer.
Cold beer.
You and
Neon. We
let's
love
not,
neon, right?
Let's not
You're
bring
right.
up that again.
Right. But the
All
thing
right.
is, there are other murals that are going up now over
Yeah,
on the Green Street Garage,
amazing.
on the side of the old Blockbuster
Amazing.
building, where there was this Chagall-like one.
Which
was
is the
removed.
Revolutionary Clinic
So,
side.
so the
Yeah.
union, this wonderful union workers, for gratis, for free,
Oh,
did
right.
all the prep work. Thank
Yeah.
you very much.
Yes.
So they did it white over, and I heard that they now put all black over it as the next sort of undercoat, and now the mural is going to go up over that. You know, what you have is your undercoat is actually matters in terms of the feel of what's going to be screaming through. So anyway, it's very interesting, and if you're not
Lots of
around Central
changes,
Square,
yeah.
come by Central Square, take a look,
Yeah.
and watch all this
It's
really
changing
cool
every
stuff
day.
happening.
Mass
It's,
and Main.
yeah, the
going
buildings
up
are
as we
going up.
speak. Yeah.
they're pretty much topping off Mass and Main
Yeah.
now. They got to still put the
Yeah.
rest of the building on it, but the
Yeah.
steel's all up pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's looking pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah.
A little shocking to some, but also kind
Yes.
of amazing at the same
It's,
time.
you know,
Think of it like sculpture and
It's
steel.
change. You have to embrace
Steel
change.
is my
You
medium.
know? Right.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. We'll see you
See you
next
next
week
week
and
on
go
King.
Sox.